Okay, so good morning boys and girls. Grandpa Chris here. Just going to do a little something different today. Let me just take my harness off. Stick that down there until I need to put it on again. I had a little something come through the post the other day from a mutual friend of ours. We all know young Andy Banting, creator of some absolutely fabulous bespoke fishing rods, and over the last month Andy has been making something for me by way of a celebration of my successful surgery, which, by the way, as you can see, I can take the sling off now. 5 weeks in, new joint is working absolutely brilliantly, and I feel fantastic. Everything is still very tight, all the muscles and everything that they've sewn back together are still very tight. But all in all, I'm ahead of schedule with my recovery and really looking forward now. So anyway, back onto the main thing. As I said, Andy has been putting this together for me over the last month, and I thought I'd go through the reveal with you of my new 9-weight bloke rod, christened Princess Marisa Ray. As you can see, it's a 9-foot 7-weight. It's in a blue blank with a plain cork handle, the burl rod fittings, and he made me the special fighting butt for it. And I'm going to put the rod together, and also what I'm going to be doing is showing you how I like to set my rod up, putting in the new lines. Oh, wrong way around, that's good. Lining the sections up, pinching them in. This is the first time I've had it out of the bag, so I'm really looking forward to having a very, very close look at it. But when you look at the whippings and the guides, just how beautiful that workmanship is. I'm not sure that there is a finer rod builder in the country right now than Andy Banting. He's brought so many people's dreams to reality over the last couple of years since he started making the rods. Again, if we just look at the tip ring, it's probably wobbling a bit too much for you. So you've got the snake runners, and each whipping done individually by hand, and it's got the silver lining to the whippings there. So that's the 3 sections, or the 4 sections of the rod. As I said, it's a 9-foot 7-weight. 9 foot, is it 9 foot? 9-foot 6 7-weight, and onto which I'm going to mount the airflow black switch in a 7-weight. Okay. The airflow comes with, the reel comes with 3 additional spools as part of the kit, and all for quite well underneath 100 quid, a little over 80 quid for the set. I'm also, on the recommendation of several of the anglers, Luke, Gator, Martin Williams, Paul Rees, I'm going to try the Rio Gold slick cast elite floating line. Again, it's in weight forward 8 floating. It's got a very long head length on it. It's a 50 foot long head length. The lines I normally use, the airflow exceed 40 plus, normally only got about a 30-foot head length on them, but this apparently will assist with distance casting and certainly with accuracy. I'm going to put that onto the max catch fly line backing, and I'm going to go through the process of how I mount the reel. So I've got a really high-tech bit of kit here to help me do it, because normally my wife would help. I'm going to put these lines onto a little stick which I run through a specially prepared high-tech container. I'm going to mount the backing, the actual fly line in the same way. So take the tags off, 2 of them. Now you'll notice that the line comes with a pre-attached loop at the reel end, which is very, very helpful. And again, onto my high-tech dispenser, if it'll go through, and then into the hole, making sure that the line comes off the top of the spool. The reason for this is it will eliminate line twist, and over the years I've had a lot of problem with line twist, and it was only a couple of years ago when Richard Francis just gave me a little bit of advice one day. He saw just how much memory I was getting on my line, and he just said to me, go on YouTube, learn how to mount a line properly. So yeah, this is pretty much the result of it. So untangle that, bring that back and up and over the top, and I run my line through onto there, and I have a knot that I used to use an awful lot when I worked as a butcher, which I use. Let's put that down a bit so you can see it. So basically pull off a little bit of line, loop it over once, twice, through the hole, pull it tight, and then using a little half hitch over the top. Got a bit of breeze here today, which is making this a little bit hard. So half hitch, and that finishes the knot off and locks it. And then using the bluntest pair of nippers that I could find this morning, I cut the waste off. And that pretty much is how I mount my backing line onto the spool, and that knot will not fail. So now mounting the rod on using there's a little rubber grommet that's on there which I've just taken off, and that was just designed there to hold everything in place in transit. That into place, wind it up, and there we go. Now, can any of you spot the obvious mistake there? I forgot to run the line through the guides. Okay, so let us start all that again. So take 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run the backing line through the guides in the opposite direction. Okay, easing some off the line, and then again I'll show you the knot through the top, catch it through the bottom, over the top, over the top, through the gap, pull it down, snug it tight, and then a quick half hitch to seal it, and then we snip it off. Doesn't have to be absolutely tight to the reel, Should have bought some braid scissors really. Shows I'm not a professional, doesn't it, eh? There we go. And now I am in a position to spool up the line. Okay, so again, making sure that the backing line comes off the top of the spool. Slowly wind on. I'm going to put on maybe 80 to 100 feet, 30 meters onto this, making sure that, as you can see, I'm easing my finger across just to lay the line onto the spool smoothly. I'm just going to take it up until I can see the line on the first run of the air holes in the side of the reel. So wind on, and that's it. That's all there is. It's all finished. So now I'm going to add the fly line itself, and I pointed out to you already that there is a loop on the reel end. So the knot I like to use, okay, it's a simple twist knot. I just twist the head of the back of the fly line, and that creates a loop there. I twist it maybe 5 or 6 times, and then I feed that through there, and grabbing hold of the two, I just snug them up, and there you have a really neat knot that will go through the guides of your reel quite adequately. And I cut that quite close. I leave maybe a millimetre of tag. And once again, ensuring that the fly line comes off the top of the spool. Again, so you start off at one side of your reel and you gently feed the line across the spool, winding it on evenly. I'm pinching the line between my fingers to just put a little bit of tension on it as it goes onto the spool. Now this is the very thin portion of the fly line that's going on at the moment. I'll very shortly start to feel the line diameter thicken in my fingers as we come up towards the actual head, the meat of the fly line. It's starting to thicken up in my hands now, and we're coming on to, if you see the colour change there, going from white to yellow, and we're just starting the 50-foot head now. And again, just making sure that that goes across the spool evenly, a little bit of tension on it. And really high vis yellow line, so you're going to see that even in the most difficult of lights. Now again, the colour of the line has changed. We're just coming to the end of the head of the line now, and that's it. So having wound that on using the top of the spool coming off of the top towards you, in theory it should eliminate the line twist that we all suffer from time to time. Now if I get a line like the airflow, like the Reed River, they don't come with a loop at the end, and that's where I use these airflow braided loops. Okay, and they just slip on over the top. There's a little plastic sleeve that you slide down to the appropriate length. Dab of super glue holds it all in place. They'll never come off. Okay. Where's that gone? I know a lot of you will use get in there, behave yourself, I don't need you today. A lot of you will use prepared leaders, so that these that you unwrap, you roll them out, you tie them on, and then you put a tippet on the end. But what I found most successful, again following advice, is I will tie directly my main line directly to the fly line. Over the last year, on the recommendation of the likes of Martin Williams and one or two others, I've been using the Seagram Grand Max. This is the 12.5 pound line. It's actually a very narrow diameter. It has the diameter of about a 7 or 8 pound line. I've had some very big fish on my other Bloke rod and some of my other rods, and this has never let me down. Not this particular dimension. 18 months ago I went down to Chalk Springs and I snapped up on the 7.5. But we all know that brown trout in particular have got teeth, and I'm thinking maybe either my knots were bad or the fish were biting through the line, and I lost 6 in a row. Went back up to the 12 and I proceeded to bag up. So when you can get a narrow gauge or narrow diameter line such as this, it's well worth putting it on. Fish can't see it in the water, that's what the scientists say, so it's well worth doing it. And once again, I use the twist knot to mount the line. Put the line through the loop, bring it down, hold the tag end, twist 3 times, put it through, wet the line, bring it down, and that's the equivalent of maybe a 6 or even an 8 turn water knot, and that knot won't let you down. So I will put that in there, and I'll run about a rod length and a half on roughly 12 feet. That gives me something to work with. Oh, hang on, my carry bag's running away with me. Not doing any advertising or anything, boys and girls. So we run on. Again, I've come to the end of that spool. There's a little line hook on here. Put your line through there, and just a couple of little overhand loops will do the job. Tie that onto there, pull it tight, and then just close your reel off, and that pretty much is you ready to go fishing. So, special word of thanks to Andy Banting. My Princess Marisa Ray rod, which you have crafted for me out of the kindness of your heart, and you even put me on it, Grandpa Chris. It is just an utterly extraordinary masterpiece. It is so light, it is so comfortable, it is so balanced in my hand. I love the small half wells grip, it fits my hand absolutely perfectly. The fighting butt's going to come in handy, because certainly over the next 6 to 8 months I'm going to be trying to learn how to cast and to fly fish left-handed. My shoulder, although the joint is working brilliantly, the muscle weakness is going to take a long time to heal. But I am so grateful for what I've been given, the recovery that I am underway. the blessings that I've been given, the friendship, your support, each and every single one of you. Andy, Martin, Luke, Joe and Andy, Mark Osborne. There's a whole list of people who are constantly in contact with me, sending me messages, good wishes, and stop being so lazy, get off your arse type messages. I start driving again in 2 weeks' time. The harness comes off this weekend. I've got a long way to go with the physio, but in comparison to what it was like 7 weeks ago when I could not move my arm, I've been given such a blessing. Thank you one and all. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm not a professional rod builder, rod tire, fly fisherman or anything. I'm not sponsored by anybody, the likes of Rio, the likes of Fly Fishing Technical Solutions, and by Airflow and anybody like that. These are just products that I've come to know, and I come to trust. I looked on there and it said low stretch. First time I've used Rio Gold. I'm looking forward to seeing what it feels like with a fish on the other end. But watching Martin's videos and watching Luke's videos, where he's just in complete and utter control using the Rio Gold lines, it gives me great confidence. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll stay in touch. I hope to be able to get out and about in about 4 weeks' time. So thank you one and all. Grandpa Chris signing off. God bless you. Take care. That hurts.